Well, folks, looks like I've got myself in a sticky situation. Help! I can't find my way out! Oh my gosh, why? Why? I just want you to be friends! I just want some honey! They're poking in places that shouldn't be poked! Hello, Oasis, and welcome back. I am that one guy for never, coming at you from the Omaticaya tribe here on Crystal Isles. So welcome back, guys, for our event video number 5 for new members. Basically what we'll do, we're going to talk to you guys about a consumable, tell you all about its uses. We're also going to talk to you about a dino, teaching you all about its uses and different ways that you can use that dino throughout the game. And at the end of all of this, we'll be offering these items for free, folks. You can come here and pick these up from me. Everything we do is for free. We just greatly appreciate tips. So let's jump right into it. All right, folks. So today I bring you veggie cakes. So veggie cakes are a really useful item, guys. They're rather expensive to make, but let me talk to you about some of the uses here. So veggie cakes are actually used to tame some pretty useful creatures in this game, namely the ovis and the achatina, otherwise known as the snail. So these two creatures, the only way you can tame these guys is with veggie cakes. The ovis can be bred up, made into basically a farm, and you can mass harvest it for mutton, which is one of the best taming foods in the game. You can also mass harvest hide and pelt from these guys as well. So very useful. This is definitely something that you're going to want to get into your base. And then the snails. So snails are actually a pretty interesting creature in this game. So what snails do is they will passively create a slime called achatina. Right here it is, achatina secretion. So this is a substitute for cementing paste, guys. So as you're starting to build your metal bases, you're going to find that is extremely expensive. It's not so much the metal that's going to set you guys back. It's going to be the cementing paste. So getting a bunch of snails is actually a really efficient way to get yourself mass amounts of cementing paste. Now let me show you a really cool way you can use these guys. Alright guys, so the snails here. So coming in here to our greenhouse, let me show you something really interesting you can do with them. You're going to see here, I have a little bit of an interesting setup here. I got a gotcha up top, got a little caged in area, I got quite a few snails going on. So here is what is going on with this setup, guys. If you put a gotcha one wall higher than the snails, so basically this is one wall high with ceilings on top of it, put your gotcha on top of that, and then put a whole bunch of snails below. What is happening here is these snails are secreting this cementing paste. And this gotcha is picking it up because it's within its render, and it is eating it. Gotchas will basically pick up anything that they pick up, or eat anything they pick up. Now, to make this farm possible, you actually need quite a few snails. We recommend 8 or more. It is technically possible with 6, but the gain is going to be very, very slow. So let's take a look here at the gotcha, and you can see what I'm talking about, guys, here. I'm going to go from behind it. So as you can see, I've already got a stack and, a little bit more going. You're going to see this number starting to go up. So it just went from 134 to 135, 136. Now, guys, this only works while you're in render distance. So make sure you're creating this farm, somewhere in your base that you're going to be often. If you put it like on the whole other side of your base and it's not rendering, this farm isn't going to work. But a great thing to do is if you know you're going to be AFKing at any point, just go near your farm, AFK, come back. You're gonna notice that you actually have passively produced quite a bit of achatina paste. Alright guys, now another really useful thing with the veggie cakes. So veggie cakes will passively heal herbivore dinos. Now this is really useful for certain dinos like your Therizino. It can even be used for things like your Ankylo and your Doedicurus when you're out harvesting different resources. So right here with the Therizino, as you can see, its health is a little bit lower. So there's different ways you can use these cakes. Now, you could force feed this to the dino, and what that will do is make it so it will recover 10% of its health over 30 seconds. A more effective use of this, though, is to just load its inventory up with these, and as long as its health is below 85%, it will passively eat these cakes. There you see the 30-second cooldown timer. It will only eat one cake per 30 seconds. You cannot force it to eat more. But as you can see, the health is actually gaining very quickly. Now, why is this useful? Mainly, this is something for boss fights. So as you go into the boss fights, Therazinos are a fantastic dino for bossing. If you load your dinos up with these veggie cakes, you're going to be recovering thousands of health throughout the entire period of the boss, which may not sound like a lot, but that is going to keep your dinos alive much longer, which could mean the difference of winning or defeat. Moving on to our Dino Spotlight, guys. Brought to you by popular demand, I am bringing you the giant bee. You're looking here, you're wondering, well, that's a beehive. Well, folks, that is the giant bee. So let's move into it. Okay, guys, now the giant bee is, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of an unpleasant passive tame. It's one of these things where if you know exactly what you're doing and how to do it, it's not that hard. But if you don't know exactly what you're doing, this is going to be a rather tough, unpleasant tame. It's not very forgiving, the mechanics on it. It's just not the easiest thing to get. Now, guys, as a brief overview of how this works, first thing you got to do is you got to find an active hive. How you find an active hive, you basically have to damage it. So if I damage this hive and drones come out of it, that means it's active. So if none of these drones came out of it, it is not an active hive. There's no queen. Second step is you have to destroy the hive. Now, this is a lot harder than it sounds, but basically, in short, you want to be really far away from it. You want to use something that is going to destroy it rather quickly. Compound bow, sniper rifle, or in this case, I'm just going to use a rocket. Shoot it. Alright guys, so the nest is broken. The second component of this, you're going to want to have full ghillie on. You're going to want to have bug repellent. So apply the bug repellent, have your full ghillie on. Now this is why on Crystal Isles, taming these guys is such a bugger. They're all the way up there. How are you going to get at her? So unfortunately on this map, basically the only thing you can do is to consume a rare flower to aggro all dinos in your radius. So I'm going to consume this, and basically she's not going to be happy about it. Alright, so basically once you get her lower to the ground, you're going to want to crawl up to her very carefully. I strongly urge you to use kibble because it's just a one and done sort of thing. You can use rare flowers and some other things, but the the kibble is just going to make this so much easier. So just feed it to her, one food, she's done. Now guys, the giant bee is a little unique. So whenever you tame her, she's going to be in front of you. But as you can see, I hit Y to obtain beehive. So she becomes an item in your inventory. And this is where it confuses a lot of people. So she becomes a structure at this point. So let me show you how we use this. Now that you have your beehive, guys, you're going to want to come back to your base. I typically put my my beehives around my greenhouse. That's just typically what I do. PvP, you're definitely going to want to defend it in your base. Now, just so you know, beehives can only be placed down on the actual ground. It will not allow you to place these on any structure. As you can see here, it just will not allow me to do that. As soon as I go to the ground, it will. So again, once you passive tame the bee and you push Y on the queen, it becomes a beehive. I can then place it down here around my base. And now we have an actual hive here. Now for this to produce honey, it will produce honey with you doing nothing to it. However, to speed up production of honey, you need to put rare flowers in it. And you're going to need a lot, guys. It's going to consume quite a few. I would say a stack would last you about a week. But with that in there, it's going to produce honey at a much faster rate. Now, you can't basically spam harvest from these guys. You might get maybe 2 harvests in a day of a full inventory load. But let's kind of talk more about what honey does. Honey is actually a very useful item, guys. So let's take a look at it here. Now, honey can be consumed just like as a normal item, such as meat, berries. Honey will provide a substantial amount of food back. So, in a pinch, honey can actually be an effective means of keeping hunger at bay. But what honey really is good at is making some of the best recipes in the game, namely sweet veggie cakes. So these are the items that I'm giving out this week, guys. Sweet veggie cakes are used to tame the two dinos I spoke about earlier in the video, and to continuously feed your snails should you be having a snail farm. The other recipe is the best kibble in the game. Extraordinary kibble is a principal item in making that recipe. Now, some other cool things you could do with honey, guys. Lead stitches, the giant kois that you will find in the oceans, those are the creatures that will destroy your rafts. The only way to pacify a leech stitches is to throw honey out at it. Now, just so you guys know, you cannot throw honey just by going into your inventory and left triggering. If you do that, you're just going to throw out a crate. This does nothing. You have to have the honey hotbarred. And when you click it on your hotbar, you actually throw out a honeycomb. So this honeycomb will pacify elite stitches. Theoretically, it is supposed to lure predators. So you could create yourself like a little line of this and lure predators. On testing, it really doesn't work. It's kind of a wonky thing, but that is its intended use, guys. So let's go here and wrap things up now. Alright guys, thank you for sticking around with us here to the end of the video. So just as a reminder, folks, I've made up a whole bunch of sweet veggie cakes. I also have some beehives as well to give out to you. Now folks, as a little bit of a rarity, I do have limited supply of these beehives because they cannot be bred. I had to go out and basically tame each one individually. So supply is limited. I am limiting it to one per tribe. But no worries guys, it's going to make plenty of honey for you. So remember folks, everything we do, everything we give out, it is free. Just coordinate with me on my page there on the Discord, Pandora Trading Post. But we do greatly appreciate tips. So if you're feeling generous, feel free to leave something for us. Thank you, folks. You all have a great night. We'll see you out there.